Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage one of my favourite scientists, Simon Singh!
What I'm going to talk about is something that's a bit controversial because I think this is going to be some of the most convincing evidence that God actually exists. It's something called the Bible Code. If you haven't come across it before, the idea behind the Bible Code is that there are coded messages in the Bible. Let me show you what I mean. What you do, the way they're coded, is you get rid of the spaces, you get rid of the punctuation, so you just have a string of letters. And then you start lighting up letters. For example, you could light up the first letter and jump 5 spaces. That gives us the word ibno. That's not a word. So you start somewhere else. That's maybe the 30th letter, and you jump every 27 spaces. That gives you E-A-E-D-A. It's not a word. You read it backwards. It's not a word. But if you keep on doing this, a chap called Michael Drosnin wrote a whole book called The Bible Code. If you keep doing this with the ancient Hebrew text, if you do it with the Torah, you begin to find words, not just words, but combinations of words that spell out predictions that have now come true. This is absolutely true. So, for example, here's one section of Bible Code. Hitler, evil man, slaughter, Nazi enemy, all encoded in the ancient Torah. It's true, it's true. You also have the death of Kennedy, to die, President Kennedy, in Dallas. In a separate section, we have the marksman, the name of the assassin who will assassinate is Oswald, all encoded in the Torah, and also touches on science as well as sort of current affairs. We have Newton and gravity. Now, this is absolutely true. It's undeniably existing in the ancient Hebrew text. But a mathematician, a bit of a hero of mine, a chap called Brendan Mackay, Australian mathematician, started looking at these Bible codes and started thinking, well, maybe it's just a coincidence. Drosnin said no. Drosnin said no. He said, if I find one prediction, that's a coincidence. If I find over 200 predictions and they've all come true, that's the hand of God. And Mackay continued to protest, but Drosnin said, look, if you think this is so easy, if you think this is just a coincidence, get another book, see if you can find predictions in another book using my technique. In fact, he challenged him to find predictions in Moby Dick. So Brendan Mackay, being a mathematician, willing to put his ideas to the test, started looking for coded messages in Moby Dick. And this is what he found. This is a section of text from Moby Dick. Get rid of the spaces, get rid of the punctuation. And this is the coded message. Letters in a straight line, equally spaced. This is what we find. We find the word Trotsky running right up the middle. Not only do we find the word Trotsky, we find the word ice, because Trotsky was killed with an ice pick to the back of the head, and the word hammer and steel head of the lance, a clear description about the death of Trotsky in Moby Dick. And in fact, there are over 200 predictions in Moby Dick. This is just a coincidence. There are so many letters in a book, a million letters in Moby Dick, a million different starting points, a million different ways you can jump around, thousands of billions of different combinations. With so many possibilities, you will find everything in any large book. Anything that has ever happened, everything that hasn't happened, everything that will happen, everything that won't happen. This is just a coincidence. Now, coincidences can be lovely, but the question is, are they real and important, or are they just whimsy? My favourite coincidence is the following one from Shakespeare's Hamlet, to be or not to be. If we take this very famous quote, if we rearrange those letters from Shakespeare's Hamlet, we end up with the following anagram. In one of the Bar's best thought of tragedies, our insistent hero Hamlet queries on 2 fronts about how life turns rotten. Now, you can either say, how weird is that? How weird is that? Shakespeare wasn't just a brilliant writer, he was a brilliant puzzler. How weird is that? There is nothing weird about this at all. Shakespeare just wrote so much stuff that this is bound to happen eventually. It is not weird. The only weird thing is that somebody bothered finding this. That's the only weird thing. I mean, this annoys me because people still continue... Well, I should stress one point here. I'm not having a go at religion here. This is not an anti-religious sentiment. It's just about the way religion is used. Not anti-religious at all. In fact, earlier this year, I joined the UK Reincarnation Society. It cost me 500 quid, but I thought, what the hell, you only live once. Now, what's annoying is that these ideas continue to be sold and published in books. This is from Bible Code 2, and it predicts all the events of 9/11, except the book comes out after 9/11. It's just data mining. But the wonderful thing is, and I'll leave you with this, Brendan Mackay The Australian mathematician continues to find more predictions within Moby Dick, richer predictions, just to show how easy it is to find predictions in any book. And this is my favourite set of predictions. There are lots of them in here. They all relate to somebody whose life was foolishly wasted in an accident involving power and velocity and who was mortal in the jaws of death. The person we're talking about is Lady Diana, Princess of Wales. And encoded in here, there are lots of references to that tragedy. So, for example, I'll light them up one by one because there's so many of them, and I'll leave you with this. Here we go. The first one is Wales, down here, because she was Princess of Wales. Backwards here is Diana. We have her full title here, Lady Diana, running right down the middle. How did she die? Well, it was a skid on a road, meeting at the D, quite important. The name of the driver, you may have forgotten, was Henri Paul. And the other person in the car, of course, was Dodie. All in Moby Dick. Thank you very much. Good night.